Today we are discussing the company that took the taxi industry by storm, Uber. On this team is Elizabeth Duramo, Sarah Eccles, Brendan Kenny, and Colby Wolf. About Uber. Uber is a transportation company and a brand that has turned into a verb like Xerox and Google. The idea for Uber started when its founders were standing outside on a snowy evening in Paris waiting to hail a cab. They thought there could be an easier, more convenient way to get home, and this is when they decided to create a company that would make commuting easy. Uber was founded in 2009 as a luxury car service in San Francisco. It has expanded since then to a multinational company. Uber is based as a smartphone application. It provides 24/7 hours of service. It has 4 lines of service, driver rating and reviews, and many flexible job opportunities. Uber continues to innovate, and in the process, they've accrued more than 8 million customers. As you can see, Uber has taken the taxi industry by storm. Here are several contrasts between original taxi service and Uber, and we will get into these further in the presentation. Product, service, and strategy. Uber took the cab industry head-on, a service that people came to accept for its many flaws. Uber did not just try to compete with local cab services, but rather reinvent what the service was and beat them. They solved nearly every problem cabs present to customers with the click of a button on a mobile phone. Uber has allowed customers to see available cars in their area right from their phone. They can then request a cab and know exactly when to expect their ride based on GPS. There is no need to pay the driver cash or swipe a card. Their account is charged the moment they reach their destination directly through the app. And if the ride is unpleasant for any reason, they can rate their driver and provide the company with feedback. This also alerts other customers about the level of service they might receive from a driver. Uber has revolutionized the private car industry, and the proof is in their overwhelming success. Customer strategy. Uber has 4 market segments: economy, premium, accessibility, and carpool. Economy, or as you might know it by UberX, is where Uber drivers use their own cars. This is the cheapest version of Uber. Premium is where Uber drivers drive the Uber Black car, which is how the company started, and it's the more luxurious line of service. Accessibility is for customers with a handicap, and carpool is the lower cost option for people who desire to ride share. As you can see, Uber targets all classes of wealth. And although Uber has different lines of service, their privileges are available to everyone. For example, the referral program for early adopters, the driver and customer reviews, and the Uber loyalty program. Service strategy. Among the many problems Uber is tackling are poor cab infrastructure, poor service and fulfillment, poor customer experience, late cars, and drivers unwilling to accept credit cards. Uber continues to make their service better by taking seriously all of the reviews that customers provide. Distribution strategy. Uber has continually distributed their services by rolling out city-to-city launches. They cater each launch for the uniqueness of a particular city, taking into consideration the demographics and regulations of each new city. They realize that every city is different, based even from culture and in different nations. Each city launch starts with its own dedicated launch team. The city is headed by the general manager, who leads driver acquisition. Generally, the first drivers are already professional drivers who own their own vehicle. Uber will then utilize local advertising channels like radio and newspaper to attract its first customers. Many customers are already familiar with the brand and might have experienced the service from another market. From there, Uber relies on its simple but effective communication strategy. So how did Uber communicate their new service across the nation in order to exceed all growth expectations? Well, in the beginning, Uber started out in the tech community in San Francisco. They would sponsor tech events, provide free rides, and give lectures on driving awareness to the attendees at events. As these early adopters rode with Uber after dealing with frustrating taxi cab service, they would go to their blogs, social media, and other ways to let their friends know how awesome this new transportation app is. Most of Uber's success can be attributed to the wow experience that their customers felt when they first rode in an Uber Black car, and those customers making sure their friends and family knew about the new way to get around. Uber did not need to spend a lot of money. Really, they have a word-of-mouth strategy. Uber also focused on all the communication to be available on each of the customer's smartphones. You can communicate with your driver directly through the application to find out where they are. Uber also has a specific customer service center with each region to provide an easy way for their customers to communicate with the company and report issues. Uber has teamed up with the Communication Service for the Deaf in order to provide job opportunities for the deaf or hard of hearing community. Two things that they're working on right now is creating online Uber video support guides in American Sign Language and hosting sign-up events across the country to get the word out to the deaf community about driving with Uber. Pricing. All Uber drivers are independent agents. They do not work for Uber. For all fares for Uber drivers, they receive 80% of the total fare, and the remaining percentage that Uber takes in mostly goes to covering variable costs on the service. One of the top features about Uber is the ease of payment. When an account is created for Uber, the customer needs to link up with a credit card in order to get a ride. The application also shows the expected price for the ride to see ahead of time. Another feature of Uber is that they do not allow for customers to be tipped since they are receiving a majority of the fares, so no physical money is required when a person takes an Uber. Uber is committed to being a low-cost service after succeeding in the black car business. Uber introduced UberX, as we spoke about earlier, which allows for everyday drivers to take advantage of the job opportunity. UberX allows for customers to take lower-cost rides for the application if a black car is not needed, and this new service has been the fastest-growing segment of the companies, passing the black car service in the amount of daily rides. Uber also introduced dynamic pricing or surge pricing to allow drivers to benefit during peak hours. They realized that their drivers were signing off and heading home before the peak time, 1 a.m., as they discovered in Uber Boston, so they wanted to give their drivers an incentive to stay on. Evaluation. We'll start first with the financial aspects of the business: sales, profitability, and value. In terms of sales, Uber is currently in a price war with its major direct competitor, Lyft. Both firms have slashed their rates. This has led to a problem with an essential part of Uber's structure: driver compensation. To keep prices low and drivers happy, Uber has adopted a strategy where drivers are compensated by an hourly wage in order to keep service levels high and drivers happy. The lower rate has led to an increase in market penetration but lower per-ride revenue. Net revenue for Uber itself, after compensating drivers 75 to 80% of the fare, was $495 million in 2014 and swelled to $1.5 billion in 2015. These numbers, however, there aren't enough to make Uber profitable. The company announced in August that they were profitable in the U.S., but they are still bleeding cash everywhere. These losses have continually required more rounds of financing, but the optimism is very high. Uber recently accepted an investment from Saudi Arabia's arm to the tune of $3.8 billion. This gives Uber's a valuation of roughly $62 billion. 5 years ago, the firm was valued at just $60 million. This is a 5-year growth rate of 1,000 times. Uber is what many considered a disruptor in the paid car ride industry. Prior to Uber's launch in 2011, the customers who wanted to be driven to a place could only use either a taxi or limousine service, both of which are costly. On the flip side, various municipal regulations riddled the taxi industry. For example, New York requires all taxi drivers to have a medallion. The city does not issue any more medallions, so they must be acquired from someone who already has one. In this system, taxi medallions were selling for over $1 million. Since Uber entered the play here, however, the competition has caused a lower demand for a medallion, and now prices are at $700K. This is a tremendous change that has being attributed to Uber and other ride-sharing companies. Uber is focused heavily on getting profit globally, and much advertising is being focused on Europe and Asia. Uber has a strong social media presence and targets ads on Facebook. These moves are rather further solidifying an already strong position, and Uber is likely to realize overall global profit on a massive scale within the next couple of years. So there you have it. We hope you learned more about Uber and their marketing technique and why this company has grown so big in such a little amount of time. Thank you.